Is insurance really necessary in Malaysia? Well, recently there has been a lot of talk about it with the price hikes, with the introduction of more deductibles. So in today's video, I will share my opinion on whether insurance is worth it in Malaysia. Again, this is just my personal opinion on insurance, so you guys will have to do your own research and then decide for yourself. First, let's talk about why people buy insurance and how it can help us. I'm sure a lot of you guys will already know this, but insurance is meant to be financial protection for us against any uncertain life events. For example, in LA recently, there were the fires that burned down a lot of houses, and I'm sure it was painful for a lot of people, but for those of them who did have house insurance, it helped them reduce the burden of sort of rebuilding their entire lives. As a full-time job, I am a trader, so I kind of see insurance sort of like a stop loss on our lives. I mean, we don't know what could happen in the future, right? Something bad could happen that could cause us a lot of damage financially. So we buy insurance to sort of set a limit on how much we can stand to lose out if, let's say, these things were to happen. Whenever I look at social media and people are debating about whether they should get insurance or not, there seems to be two different, very polarizing views. One group says that every Malaysian should be insured and it should be insured against everything to make sure that they're safe and protected. And then there's the other group who says insurance is a scam, it's a waste of money. If we buy it and then we don't end up using it, it's literally just throwing money down the drain. To me, both of these views are a bit too extreme. We need to be a bit more balanced in our views when it comes to this. But one thing that I will say though is that if you think about it, the average person who buys insurance will end up losing out on average. I mean, I don't have the data for this, but it makes sense, right? The only way that these insurance companies can be profitable, and they are extremely profitable, is that more people buy insurance and then don't end up using it compared to the amount of people who buy insurance who end up filing a claim. That just makes sense, right? But that's just how life goes. We never know which category we'll be in. If, let's say, we buy insurance and don't end up using it, then I guess that is kind of good news too, because it means that nothing bad happened to us. And if we end up needing it, then yeah, at least we have it. Anyway, let's go through the different types of insurance in Malaysia before I share my views on them. First up, there is life insurance, which is basically an insurance that will pay out a certain amount of money to your beneficiary in the event that you pass away. Sometimes this is bundled together with something called disability insurance, which basically means, let's say you get into an accident, you don't die, but you are permanently disabled, they will also pay this amount out to you. There are two types of life insurance. One is called term life insurance, which will cover you for a certain amount of years. And then on the other hand, there is something called whole life insurance, which will basically cover you for your entire life as long as you continue paying your premiums. Then there is medical insurance, which will help you pay any hospitalization bills in case anything bad were to happen to you. Some people will get this from their jobs. I think it is an employee benefit. For my last two jobs, I did have medical insurance, but it's usually not that much. I think back then I was on like 50 or 60,000 ringgit a year. So yeah, it could be enough if it was a minor problem, but if it was a major issue with your health, then I don't think that is enough. You can choose how much money you want to be covered for, so usually there is an annual limit. These days, it can go up to crazy amounts. I've seen annual limits like 10 million ringgit. I have no idea how you can rack up such an expensive hospital bill, but yeah, that is an option. Also, there is something called a deductible plan, which will make your medical insurance cheaper. Basically, how it works is that, let's say you go to the hospital, your bill is 10,000 ringgit. If you have a deductible of 300 ringgit, you have to pay 300 ringgit first, and then your insurance will pay the remaining 9,700 ringgit. So yeah, the more deductible that you agree to, the cheaper your insurance plan will be. And then the final type of common insurance that people get in Malaysia is what we call critical illness insurance. So this works similarly to the disability insurance, I guess, except this one is for critical illnesses. So usually these insurance companies will come up with a list of what they consider critical illness. So things like, let's say, cancer. And if you, touch wood, get that, they will pay you out a certain amount. And then there are the other types of insurance as well, things like personal accident, theft, house insurance, car insurance, all these other things, but I won't talk too much about those in today's video. So having said all of that, who should be getting insurance? First up, if you have anyone dependent on you and your income, then you must seriously consider getting life insurance. Let's say, for example, you are the sole breadwinner of your family, you have a wife and kids at home, or let's say you have old parents who are not working anymore, they rely on you for pocket money to survive, then yeah, these kind of situations, you kind of want to have life insurance. Let's say if anything were to happen to you and you passed away, then they would be in deep trouble because they won't have your income anymore. And if you don't have life insurance, they're basically stuck to fend for themselves. Unless, of course, you have a huge savings, which I guess they're good for you. They'll be fine. But yeah, In terms of how much life insurance to go for, usually people aim for anywhere between 5 to 10 times of their annual income. But obviously, the bigger the amount that you want to go for, the more expensive your premiums will be. So personally, I do not have anyone who is depending on me or my income, so I don't think life insurance is important for me. But at the same time, if I were to, let's say, get into an accident and I was permanently disabled, or let's say if I were to get sick and lost my income, I don't want people close to me to be burdened financially to take care of me. So for that reason, instead of life insurance, I would prioritize disability and critical illnesses insurance, because like I said, if anything were to happen to me and I didn't pass away, then at least people who are close to me, my family and stuff like that, they don't really have to worry about me financially, even if I didn't have an income anymore. Finally, if you are a high earner, then I would say consider getting medical insurance. For one, you will help to reduce the burden on our public healthcare because there are a lot of people who need it and waiting times can be quite long. But secondly, it will also help you protect against anything bad that will happen to you. Of course, you could go for public healthcare, but if you are a high earner, then why not just pay a bit for insurance and just basically guarantee that you're well taken care of. I mean, you earn a lot of money, you spend a lot of money, and I'm sure you save a lot of money as well. You don't want just one single incident to happen where you basically have to blow off all of your savings just to pay that hospital bill. Let's say you're earning 10,000 ringgit a month. You can get medical insurance for just 250 a month. That's just like 2.5% of your income, right? It's not a lot of money. So seriously, if you are a high earner, then it's almost a no-brainer for me to get medical insurance, unless your company is covering you for like 10 million a year. Then yeah, that's a completely different story. So that covers who should get insurance and what type of insurance I think they should get. Now, who shouldn't get insurance? I think this is an important question because I have seen people who are over-insured as well. Now, in my opinion, if you're someone who doesn't have a very high income yet, then I would skip the medical card. Now, the only reason that I can say this, and this only applies to Malaysians, is that in Malaysia, we are very lucky because we have very cheap public healthcare. I would say it's very heavily subsidized, right? So in case anything happens to us, even if we didn't have insurance and we didn't have a lot in savings, in the very worst case scenario, we can always go to the public healthcare system. Yeah, you won't be in the most comfortable hospitals, or you might not have your own private room to just relax and recover, but at least you know you will be taken care of. Personally, if I was someone who isn't in the high income bracket, I would rather save and invest that money. So you can even do something like every single month, just contribute to something you call a medical fund, I guess. So let's say every month you earn 3,000 ringgit, you take out 10% or 300 ringgit, and instead of using that money to buy insurance, you just set it aside, put it into a savings account, invest that money, whatever it is, and just build that up so that in case anything happens in the future, you have this money ready to go. Then there's the obvious one, but I still have seen people do this before, which is if you do not have any dependents, if no one is relying on your income, then you really don't have to get life insurance. Don't get tricked by your agents. Again, personally, I would rather just save and invest that money. Let's say you've saved up a considerable amount of money that you would have used to pay off a life insurance premium. In the event that anything bad were to happen to you, this money will still go to your next of kin anyway. One more thing that I want to call out is that you guys should not see insurance as an investment. To me, insurance is meant to protect you against any bad event that would happen. Like I said, as a trader, I see this as sort of like a stop loss to our lives. A stop loss does not make you money. A stop loss will just limit how much money you lose in case things don't go your way. If you want to grow your money, if you want to invest, then don't look at insurance, go to the stock market. So if you fall into the category of someone who should be getting insurance, and let's say you are considering it, how much money should you spend? The general consensus or recommendation on this is that you should spend anywhere between 5 to 10% of your monthly income on insurance. Personally, again, this is just my personal opinion, 10% is way too high. I would say even 5% is slightly too high. For me, I'm spending less than 5% of my monthly income on insurance. The only exception to this case, I would say, or the only reason that I can think of why people would spend a bigger portion of their monthly income towards insurance is that, let's say you are someone who has a very high income, you have a lot of people who rely on you for your income, and let's say you are forced to buy a very high life insurance just to make sure everyone is okay in case you pass away, then yeah, in those scenarios, maybe you don't have a choice, you will have to pay up. On the medical card side, there is two options. One is called the basic medical card, and then the other one is an investment-linked product. And for this one, I would go with the investment-linked insurance, even though it is more expensive. So the way that this works is that every single month when you pay your insurance premium, a certain portion will go towards your insurance, and then another portion will go towards investments with your insurance company. Now, I know that literally just 2 minutes ago, I said that insurance should not be considered investments, but this is a slightly different scenario because the way that investment-linked insurance works is that it's not meant to grow your wealth. And then, when you retire, withdraw that money and then enjoy retirement. It's not meant for that. It's meant to offset any potential future premium increases or to extend your insurance coverage. Like, let's say from 65 years old to 70 years old. That's the entire purpose of it. It's not meant to grow your wealth and then spend it in the future. So yeah, that's why I say it's a bit different, and that's why I would go for it. Because otherwise, with a basic medical plan, in a few years' time, you can definitely expect to pay a higher premium, and this will just continuously go up. But if you can't afford that, because investment-linked insurance can be quite expensive, then you can always just start off with basic medical insurance. There are many very cheap options out there. I just went to a site called Kautim, and they start at just 50 ringgit a month. Yeah, you might not get the highest annual limit, you might not get 10 million ringgit a year, but at least it's a good start, and then slowly you can upgrade from there. The big thing that I do want to call out, or basically the summary of this entire video, is that to me, insurance in certain scenarios for certain people is worth it. Personally, I am insured as well, but the very important thing for me to basically tell you guys is that don't overspend on insurance. I have spoke to colleagues about this before, or ex-colleagues, and some of them spend nearly 1,000 ringgit a month in insurance premiums when their salary is barely like 5,000-6,000 ringgit. To me, that is way too much, and the way I see things, saving and investing is still the most important. Insurance is, again, to just protect us. If you do not have any savings, then there's literally nothing to protect, right? So yeah, get insurance if it suits you, but don't go overboard. Just get what is necessary. So that's my view on getting insurance in Malaysia. Again, this is just my own personal views from my own circumstances, so you guys will have to decide for yourselves which one you should get and how much money you should spend. But I do hope that this video at least helped educate you guys a bit. So let me know in the comments below, do you have any insurance right now? Thanks for watching this video to the end, guys. Give me a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.